JT, also a great auditor. Please help me welcome JT up front.
Thank you, John. I'm sorry you have to put up with the second string pretty boring team here, but I'll do the best I can. I've been making notes back there while I've been pushing buttons. But before we get to my evaluation as general evaluator, we'll have 3 evaluations of the 3 speeches. We'll start off with Pat Rarus, who's going to talk about Lori's speech. Pat is one of our most experienced evaluators here. She's given me a lot of help and advice over time, and I'm sure we'll get some good stuff from her today.
And it works, you won the contest.
It works.
The challenge today is, Laura, this is only your second speech, however, third, a repeat of the second speech. When you gave your first speech, you already had so many sterling qualities. I mean, you acted and gave a speech of a seasoned Toastmaster, even though you were a beginner. Because everyone comes into Toastmasters with different levels of expertise, and obviously you had a lot going for you already. And the second speech, the Urge to Purge, when we gave it initially, Terry evaluated you. She's off in Spain right now, so I'm sure she's enjoying herself. She, who's a very good evaluator, had a real challenge to find anything to tell you to improve upon, and the only thing she came up with was that you could have moved more here and moved more here, and that you were kind of, you used the stage in a very narrow focus. So this time you did, of course, you do that, and you conscientiously moved to the right, to this part, and then also to the left, and so you did expand your world in that regard. I'm using the evaluation form. You already excelled at the gestures, your persuasion, enthusiasm, knowledge of the subject, because you are a fashion consultant, and your energy and vocal variety. It was an excellent speech, and you started out using Patricia's advice because you did ask a question. And that you certainly got our attention. And then you also gave us a handout, which I don't think you gave the first time, did you?
I did a different speech, so I did a totally different speech.
Oh, okay, but you didn't talk about Urge to Purge before? I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, well, anyway. Well, you had the handout, you had the knowledge, you had the enthusiasm, you had the energy, and you made us, you involved all of us, because we all, men and women alike, have this issue of cluttered closets. A lot of people do, and you made us feel a little guilty, but not too bad. And so you are, if I had to use an adjective to describe you, I would say perky. You are perky. And you've got this lovely smile, and you're gorgeous, and as a fashion consultant, you certainly dress the part. There isn't much room for improvement because you're already so advanced, though. I would urge you to project your voice. I mean, be a female Robert Perry. That would be tough. You could have a bigger voice and a bigger presence, and that would make your already excellent speech even better, because you're so advanced at this stage, this early stage of your speaking career. Think big and expand your horizons, speak louder, and you will really be a super speaker. Thank you very much.
Our next evaluator is Veronica, who's going to give us some of her always unique insights into Kathy's speech.
Some ideas from her past evaluator to improve upon this one. She has chosen the same topic, and the title has been gluten-free because I got to be. Now, we wonder why is the question. And I don't think she gave us that. She just said she had to be, but she didn't give us a why. So curious minds want to know why to start off. In addition, The other person said that she was up here speaking too fast, that she had to incorporate more pauses. And tonight, I felt that she spoke a little more softly, and the reason being is that she was trying to slow down her pace. Because when she speaks in a high tone, she is moving at a faster rate. And that's kind of interesting how that works, but you did slow down, I believe. She uses the floor, although I think she's just pacing up and down. Doesn't really use it with purpose. So therefore, next time, if you can focus on maybe how to incorporate moving, yet with a purpose, not just going back and forth. Another thing that was incorporated from the previous time was the person said she had a lot of knowledge on this topic, and I would agree. She has knowledge because she needs to eat gluten-free, so she knows what to eat and what not to eat. And she gave us examples, and she even included a story of another individual. And so she got a little personal with someone else's, not only her personal, but someone else. So she included another example, which is great. In addition, she says, let's see, the other person says, slow down, pause. Great body language. I would agree. You would incorporate your hands a lot when you're up here speaking. There were some things that you mentioned, like 1, 2, 3, you know, you gave specifics, and then you said something over here where you did this, you know. It helps with your language and body language to mix them both, because as we know as speakers up here, our body language says like 90%, and in our voice, 30%. So when you're up here and you're talking, you use a lot of hand gestures. Another one is your facial reactions. You have great facial reactions and a smile at the end. And when you want to close off, Mark did it too tonight, you know, smiling at the audience, including eye contact with everyone, you incorporated that. So overall, I'd rank you at about a 90% on this speech tonight, and improvement-wise, I think you nailed it. So I look forward. Oh, Harry is here. Never mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. The government attire lends more weight to your very official. Finally, Gary Penn, please come up here and tell us your evaluation, Mark Richter. I always enjoy listening to Gary's evaluations, whether or not I'm on the other end of them.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Ladies and gentlemen, and most especially Mark, the one piece of advice I have for Mark this evening has nothing to do with being a female version of Robert Perry. So you are good there. Mark asked me to look at 3 specific things with his speech this evening, which, to remind you, was about researching and presenting. And those things specifically were around references, his sources for his research, organization, and emotion. Those 3 things are ultimately the most important things that you can do when you have a speech that is about research. And he did a really, really good job. The key things that I would recommend is breaking down what it is that is part of the research. So you had organization that was super, super top-notch. I loved how the references tied into the organization. So I'll give you an example of that. Your references included research that would introduce a concept, and then you had a second reference that I didn't catch where the references were from. There were several of them were for online sources. And the second reference would bolster the first one. So you didn't necessarily change topics with the references. I thought that was a good thing because one was building upon the other. However, I got a little lost in the organization of the speech. So I thought you did an awesome job introducing it. And then you went straight into the 3 things about first impressions: visual, auditory, handshake. So I have 2 recommendations there. 1, slow way down on those things and really let them go punch it home. Visual, auditory, and finally, ladies and gentlemen, the handshake. So let it really resonate with the audience. The second thing with your organization was I got lost in the second piece. So you clearly defined all 3 of those, but then it went into be on time, be present, be yourself, and smile. All really good, but you rushed the end and then said you were going to focus on smiling, and I got a little lost as to why that was. However, the beauty of the last piece was in working on emotion, which is something you wanted to work on. It really brought it home, because when you were talking about smile, you brought in a personal reference, where you were talking about the Dalai Lama and you were talking about Thich Nhat Hanh. And when you did that, you lighted up, because clearly that resonated with you. That experience of meeting Thich Nhat Hanh, which I'm very jealous of, by the way, was clearly something that resonated with you, and therefore it resonated for the audience. And so it brought out the emotion. Really good speech. I would say if you could slightly restructure it to play to those strengths, you have something that is really, really strong, especially for something that could be dull because it's research. So thank you very much.
See, I learned something from that. Thank you, Gary. Can we have a timer report for the evaluators, please?
They all came in about the same time, so they all qualified.
Thank you, Sybil. At this point, can we have a report from the accountant, please? And then we will prepare a report.
The gator was pretty quiet. We had a lot of so's and ands and ansos and some like Xerox, like, and anso, and on this and on this. Other than that, you know what, I didn't even notice a lot of ums or ers. I was really surprised. So,
Good
good
morning.
morning.
Are you going to pass the sheet around?
Yeah, I'm gonna pass the sheet and the piece.
Thank you, Patricia. And our grammarian report, please.
Okay, I'm going to list some of the good things I heard. JT, regarding the videos, you said to see yourself as others see you is a gift. I thought it was a nice, colorful phrase. Also, put up with second string general evaluator. I thought that was pretty good. But you weren't. You were on top of your game. Lori, letting go of that which no longer serves you. But that was a nice line. Kathy, she revolutionized the world of gluten-free eating. Nice. Mark, light is faster than sound theory. That was pretty good. And Pat made us feel guilty, but not too bad. And Matt and Daria, I think that you did great at table topics, but one of the things that Matt used was like. I heard like there's, you know, and you won't hear too many people using like in here. I know it's rampant in the younger generation, but we try to avoid that if possible. And Daria, I want a house facing the ocean view. So she did a great job in table topics. Lori and Kathy. Well, one more thing, Gary. 3 things that I would recommend is. Yeah, things that I would recommend are. And then Lori, I just want to talk about the ending of speeches. Lori and Kathy said thank you after finishing their speech, and Mark didn't say anything. And it's a lot better when you can finish your speech on a strong note. So if you were to say, like, this is the end of the speech, did you hear that like? Did you hear that? If this is the end of the speech, that's the end of my speech. And nobody really knows if it's a true ending. That's the end of my speech, Mr. Toastmaster. Or that's the end of the speech, thank you. But you really shouldn't thank the audience because you're giving the audience something and they should be thanking you. That's what people typically say in Toastmasters. So that helps. When you can end on a real strong note, people know when to applaud. It actually welcomes applaud when you do that. So that's a good thing to watch out for. Mr. John Beyer, second string.
I believe these green envelopes are for best evaluator. If you haven't had a chance to vote, that's what that's for. I'll give you my general evaluation of the meeting, and then we'll get into the final wrap-up. We got off to a little bit of a late start, maybe because of the meeting going on in there, but we were able to almost catch up by halftime. Robert got us off to a nice, strong, lively intro, got the meeting going in a set a good tone for it. I'm glad to see the guests here. I'm glad that everybody is engaged. If the new members, if you haven't gotten a mentor, talk to the mentor guru. Is that you, Larry?
Yes.
And he will help you get one. That's a very useful thing to have to help, just to have somebody to call if you have a question. Sybil did an excellent job back there holding up the lights. I know I would appreciate that if I was speaking. When Sybil was giving her little talk up here, somebody was having a hall talk out there, so if you need to talk, make sure it's far enough away that we don't hear it. Thanks to everybody who volunteered for multiple jobs today, like me, who was filling in by, who was volunteered. Sean, that was a great table topic. That was unique and interesting and fun. I thought the whole meeting was a good compromise of fun and efficiency. The speakers were strong. I enjoyed all those speeches. The evaluations were strong. Each of the evaluators showed preparation, so we really appreciate that. It's so helpful to get that good feedback. And that's all I have to say, so I'm going to go back there and finish my job as the video guy. So now I'll turn it back to you.